Nintendo's greatest rival, the move to 3D has not been kind to him. Although he got off to a pretty good start with Sonic Adventure, every subsequent game has been of shaky quality. And with each and every one of them, gamers have grown more and more irate as articles about how to save Sonic have increased at an exponential rate. That is until Sonic Unleashed, the game where Sonic inexplicably transformed into a stretchy-armed werehog at night. It seemed like Sonic couldn't possibly get any worse, and gamers just threw their arms up in the air and said, "Fuck it, take him out behind the barn and shoot him. Sonic is fucking dead." Because really, it looked like Sonic couldn't possibly get any worse than this, and we didn't want to see if he could. That is, unless you actually played the game. Oh sure, the werehog was questionable, and it had plenty of problems, but the day stages were fucking awesome! Like, seriously, they were amazing! Why, if Sega could do a game of just the day stages, it would be great! And that's practically what they did with Sonic Colors on the Nintendo Wii, and sure enough, it was actually a good game. Not good for a Sonic game. Oh no, it's one of the best games on Wii, easily in its top 10. Well, now they've taken what they've learned from Sonic Colors and brought it back to the 360 and PS3 just in time for Sonic's 20th anniversary in Sonic Generations. The concept this time around is that it's Sonic's birthday when suddenly a mysterious monster shows up, kidnaps all of his friends, and throws Sonic into a mysterious white void. There Sonic meets up with his past self, and together the two of them must race through stages from their past in order to rescue their friends and find out who's behind all of this. Don't worry, the story is sparse, there aren't that many cutscenes, they're skippable anyway. Honestly, it's kinda disappointing as there's a few little in-jokes about past Sonic games. I really would have liked to see them have more fun lampooning previous Sonic adventures.
Totally strange.
No stranger than rescuing genies in magic books or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park.
Anyway, what this means is that you play through one stage from each mainline Sonic game, regardless of quality. One says classic 2D Genesis-era Sonic, and one says modern Sonic Unleashed in Colors Sonic. Don't worry though, the stages are far from rehashes. They've all been wonderfully redesigned, yet kept familiar elements, so that way it stays fresh and new. That also means that the Sonic 2006 stage is actually fucking playable. What this also means is that yes, you're going to be playing through 3D remixed versions of classic Genesis stages, while also playing through 2D remixes of modern 3D Sonic stages. Classic Sonic plays just about the way you remember him on Sega Genesis. All of his stages are completely 100% 2D and can be played with a single button, though they've added the ability to press X to instantly spin dash. I say just about because the physics aren't quite right and the rolling doesn't work quite as intended, you can't quite build up momentum the right way. But overall, it's minor fucking nitpicks compared to how wonderful these stages are. And surprisingly, they actually do take advantage of the fact they're made of polygons now. First of all, the camera zooms out sometimes, or angles itself slightly, to give you a better view of what's coming up ahead, and they also fully utilize the 3D space to have some really creative stage design. Seriously, the level design here is fucking awesome. And this has actually been one of the things I've been complaining about with Nintendo's recent 2D revival efforts. Make no mistake, Kirby's Return to Dreamland and Donkey Kong Country Returns would both get a 4 out of 5 or above from me. They're great games, but I really wish they would better utilize the 3D polygonal aspect of the game to come up with some creative stage design, the way they utilized sprite scaling and rotation back on the Super Nintendo to come up with stages that wouldn't have been possible on the original NES. One of the best examples of this is in the classic rendition of City Escape, where the infamous truck is constantly following you throughout the stage, running through the background, throwing enemies into the foreground, sometimes crashing through the foreground and destroying bits of stage if you're not fast enough to climb up them. It's really creative and interesting, and I really like it. Once you're done playing as classic Sonic though, you have to play as modern Sonic, and this is the part where a lot of people would groan, complaining about some kind of bizarre blasphemy of playing 3D renditions of classic Genesis stages. But don't worry, Sega has actually fixed 3D Sonic. He works now. How? Well, Sega realized that you can't really do 3D free-roaming pinball physics Sonic, or really much 3D free-roaming in general with him. Why? Well, because in 2D there's really only one way to approach a ramp, and as such the game has a pretty good idea where you're going to land. In 3D, though, there's a ton of different ways you can approach a ramp. If you don't hit the ramp right, you could fly off in some completely unexpected direction, utterly baffle the camera, and land on some chunk of stage that you were never supposed to touch, probably falling through it into a bottomless pit. Sound like familiar problems? Sega's solution to this was to treat 3D Sonic like a race car that can jump. Heck, they've even given him the ability to drift, of all things, and thus designed his stages as basically race courses. This not only gives us a great sense of speed, but also gives us more control over the action and prevents those often complained about hold-forward segments seen in so many Sonic games, as now there's a little more to it than just holding forward. However, it's at this point that you've probably noticed the problem with putting Sonic on what is essentially a glorified racetrack. Racetracks are kinda linear, and while there's some branching paths, this does apply. So how does Sega address this? Well, if you hit the right spring or boost pad or scripted event, the camera smoothly transitions from a 3D back view to a 2D side view. And suddenly, you have all the platforming and exploration and things you remember from classic 2D Sonic for a bit. That is, until you hit the right spring boost pad or scripted event again, and the camera once again smoothly transitions to a 3D back view. The way the game stylishly blends these two different play styles results in some incredibly dynamic and interesting stage design. Once again, I cannot applaud the stage design enough. This is wonderful, and it feels absolutely great. One of the other common flaws with 3D Sonic that's also been fixed is the homing attacks. Far too often in past 3D Sonics, you would try to homing attack one enemy only to fly off into oblivion, or homing attack some enemy you didn't expect, utterly confusing you. This isn't a problem anymore. Why? Well, because a targeting sight now appears on the enemy or object you're going to homing attack, telling you exactly what you're gonna hit. And if there's no targeting sight, then your homing attack isn't going to hit an enemy. This also makes it much more clear that you can tilt the stick in different directions to aim your homing attacks as well, making you more aware of the amount of control you have over the action. Overall, it's a wonderful fucking game because of all this, and not to mention, it looks gorgeous. These graphics are phenomenal. The Hedgehog engine truly is impressive, and I seriously can't believe the sense of speed. However, Sonic's trademark speed may well be one of the game's biggest faults. How so? Well, when you're going through stages this fast, they only last about 2-3 minutes. In short, the game's rather short. You can probably reach the ending in about 4 or 5 hours. That's not because Sega was lazy. Oh no, far from it. There's more assets in this game than in a lot of other far longer games. It's just the fact that you're burning through those assets so friggin' fast. I mean, you're Sonic, for crying out loud. Of course you're going through them fast. Thankfully, Sega did add some extra content. Each stage has 10 different bonus missions. 5 for modern Sonic and 5 for classic Sonic. These can range anywhere from racing course ghosts to going through specially designed challenge stages. Heck, there's even a few where you can press Y to summon one of Sonic's friends and use their special abilities to get through a stage. Well, there's a few stages that are lackluster, a little too puzzly, a little too experimental for my taste. They all generally work and might be enjoyed by someone looking for a more experimental experience. What's more, completing these stages unlocks artwork and music. The artwork isn't just from this game, there's actually design sketches from Sonic Heroes and stuff in there. And the music, there's 50 different songs encompassing Sonic's entire history. Basically, if a game isn't represented here, it's represented in the music, meaning Sonic Spinball, 3D Blast, even Secret Rings. And the good news is that you actually get to use this music. On any stage, you can select Change Music and switch to any of the tracks you've unlocked, which is great if you haven't already ripped the Sonic R soundtrack to your 360's hard drive. Oh, what? Like you haven't? One other interesting unlockable, though, is new skills. Yes, skills. This is an aspect that can be completely ignored, but as you clear later stages, you get points, which you can then spend to buy new skills, which you can equip on Modern and Classic Sonic. These include things like the ability to stop on a dime, increased boost meter, or the different elemental shields from Sonic 3. There's only a few available at the start, and there's more that can be unlocked, and it does allow you to customize your Sonic experience a little bit. Or you can just completely ignore them. The game's perfectly playable and beatable without them, rest assured. There's one other interesting thing you can buy from the shop, though, a Sega Genesis controller that lets you play Sonic 1. It's the entire game emulated, accessible from within Sonic Generations. I think that's kinda cool, packing Sonic's first adventure in here. Yes, chances are you probably already own the game. Heck, you probably already own the game 5 times over by now. But it's a nice gesture and something that I know certain other companies wouldn't do. They'd probably just give you a demo and say, if you want the full Sonic 1 experience, buy the full game on Xbox Live Arcade, or in their case, Virtual Console. Not to name names or anything. Overall, Sonic Generations is a phenomenal experience, but it's not without its flaws. There's some frame rate hiccups here and there, most notably on Speed Highway, though this might just be with the 360 release. And as mentioned earlier, it's a bit on the short side if you don't count all the bonus content. The cutscenes, what few there are of weirdly low quality. And my biggest complaint would have to be the bosses, which, while cleverly designed, often require far too specific a sequence of actions in order to damage them, with the end boss actually being the worst part of the entire game. Let me tell you, that's fucking disappointing. You play through what is, in my opinion, one of Sonic's greatest adventures yet, only to end on such a flat note. Seriously, and the ending isn't even that good either. The best part's the cutscene before the final boss. But perhaps the most unusual omission is the lack of an online versus mode, which is kind of annoying because I know plenty of friends that I want to race in this game. The modern Sonic stages feel like friggin' race courses, and what's more, the portable games have online multiplayer, including the 3DS version of this very game. So where's the online multiplayer? Come on, Sega! Still, these are pretty minor nitpicks in the grand scheme of things. Just enough to prevent me from giving it a 5 out of 5, but only slightly. Sonic Generations gets a 4.9 out of 5. I highly recommend it. Chances are, if you're a Sonic fan, you've already picked this up. If you've played some Sonic games in the past, quit because they sucked, and were thinking about getting back in because you were hearing good things about Sonic Generations, definitely do it. And heck, even if you don't like Sonic at all, I highly recommend at least trying the game. I understand that such a short game may not be worth buying to you, even though Sega is selling it at $50 rather than $60. But do try to rent it, or at the very least, download the playable demo and see what I mean. This game is really freaking impressive. Also, as a side note, the 3DS game is a completely different game from the 360 and PS3 release. I've only played a little ways into it, but I will say it's kind of disappointing, mostly because, ironically, it's more 2D, despite being on the 3DS. And the Dreamcast stages are kind of bland in their design. It's definitely not a bad game, just not as good as its console counterpart. And one last thing before I go. Only Sega could fuck up by making a Sonic game too good. No, seriously. You see, Sonic Generations does everything in its power to show the stark contrast between classic Sonic and modern Sonic, and they're both an absolute blast to play as. But I know far too many people who are going to play this, play as classic Sonic, and say, wow, I really wish Sega would make more classic Sonic. And the chances are that's not going to happen. You can't really make a Generations 2. It doesn't work like that. And they can't just put classic Sonic in every game. I have absolutely no clue what Sega's gonna do from here. But, hey, you know what? Not my fucking problem. Anyway, this is Jell, and you've been GameBabble. See ya.